Hey the YouTube, is Gended73 making another episode of Knife Talk, and today I'll be talking about hard use knives. Now, I use the air quotes because I think it's an interesting genre or subcategory of knives. And really, I mean, the whole point of something being hard use is being a knife that's overbuilt in every way, something that's super beefy and tough, and it'll never break on you. And then I guess the inference to that, or the negative implication, or whatever you want to put it, is that other knives aren't as tough and they'll break on you. In my opinion, other knives don't really break on you. These ones just really won't break on you. So I mean, if you're paranoid about your folder breaking, I mean honestly, these will break before something like a fixed blade. So if you're really gonna be beating on your knife, take a fixed blade. And some people say, well, you can't carry a fixed blade in some places. Well, I guess then you could carry the toughest folder, you absolutely could, but at a certain point, I mean, it gets to be with knives that are just so heavy. This one isn't really that heavy. I think it's a nice size weight. But there are other hard use knives. Just an example, the ZT 0300, it weighs half a pound. Or the 0200, it weighs 9 ounces, over half a pound. And you have other just really, really heavy knives. For me, I think for most people, you don't need this kind of knife. You don't need a super thick blade. You don't need a super thick handle or a super thick frame lock. You just don't need it. I think if you think you need it, I think you're kidding yourself, honestly. Or even something like the triad lock. Is it nice to have? I'll say yeah. I really like the triad lock. I think for a value, really heavy duty knife, I think the Voyager is awesome, and I think that if you want to pay a little bit more, this 0550 is an excellent choice. I mean, look at how thick that tie is, let's just compare it really quickly to a Sebenza. You can just see how thick that titanium is. But this is what will happen, is you'll say to yourself, wow, look at how thick that titanium is. But then you scan down, look at the lock bar cutout. Alright? Let me position this around. Look at that lock bar cutout. Alright? Just by the look of my eye, this Sebenza's lock bar cutout looks thicker. It doesn't matter how thick that frame lock is. It matters how thick that cutout is. You know what I'm saying? So basically speaking, all this heavy dutiness, it's all super strong, but its weakest link is right here, And I think a lot of people overlook that when they look at beefy frame locks, But then the flip side to that is, I've only seen one frame lock fail right here, and it's one of those like infamous internet knife pictures, and it's an Emerson HD7 that I think was totally just annihilated. Someone just beat the ever-loving shit out of it, which would do that. Folders, you can make them tough to a certain point, but after that point, they will break. Just like even fixed blades will do that at their point too. I think if you're trying to design a knife that's unbreakable, you're just, exercising in futility. There's no point. It will break at a certain point. It'll boil down to its weakest link. But other things, like for me, I live in an urban environment, and do I need an ultra thick blade like this? It's pretty thick. I'm not sure if it's showing up on camera, but it's a pretty thick knife. But the nice thing is how ZT ground this is they ground it to be a pretty good cutter. So for me personally, like the blade on a Chris Reeve Sebenza, that high hollow grind that's basically, designed for really good slicing. I'm more of a city guy. I'm not having to thrash. I'm not having to thrash on my knives much at all. So something like this, to me personally, is more of a novelty. I know there are people out there who probably, this is a necessity, but from my point of view, it's just not necessary. Granted, do I like hard use knives? Yeah, but of all the knives I have, I don't know, I might have 35 folders. These are like the only two I consider hard use. Everything else is either, medium duty or like, you know, the slicers, you know. But I mean, I've never really broken a knife. You know, I've never snapped the blade in half. I've never failed a lock except for the Axis lock. But I mean, really, I mean, I think people kid themselves and they really buy into the hype and they say, "Oh, I need a hard use knife." You know, I mean, unless you're fighting a Buick, you don't need these. You know, and even then, probably break. So, I think in the end, to conclude, I think hard use knives are nice. I think they do have a place with some people. To me personally, I could easily live on without them. But I do like the ones I have here. You know, I think they're all right, and I will get more, but I'll never have as much as knives that cut better, like the Sebenza or Spyderco or whatever. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found that informative, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.